Good afternoon, everyone. This works miracles when logging in on the air.
and gives his co-host a heart attack every week. Our guests are already here. They
Beautiful.
both are looking beautiful. Great way to celebrate
What I'm talking about.
incredible business women. And so we're gonna have a great show today. And it's
Oh, man, my week has been good. I'm doing those SBA Navigator classes, and I'm loving them. Yeah, certifications also. So it was amazing. So it's amazing. I was just reading one of the compliments I was getting from one of my Bell. So
and thank you. So don't go anywhere, Michelle, because after we do her interview, we want to have a conversation with the both of you, because both of you are women in business, and we're celebrating women. And there's a statistic that I read recently that even during the pandemic, the women were the survivors of the pandemic.
Yes.
And the growth of women entrepreneurs grew tremendously
during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
To be exact, it grew 49%. 49% of new businesses were women-owned businesses during the pandemic. So
yeah, it was. So now our guest, Miss Selena Thomas. She's an 11-year resident of Santa Clarita. She is a busy mom of 3 amazing daughters, and she is the CEO and founder of 6 Degrees of HR Consulting, and the host of a podcast as well called SCV Signal, and a recent candidate for the Santa Clarita City Council. We welcome you, Miss Selena, and talk about another business that really focuses on customer service and laws and support of businesses. And I think there's a big need for outside HR consultants, because when you work in a corporate world, over the years, the HR department is not necessarily there for the employee.
No,
it's there for
the man. So welcome to the business zone, Selena.
We are so happy to have you.
Thank you. So much to unpack. And I just have to start by saying thank you for having me on. I was so excited. I'd spoken to Gilbert about a month ago about this opportunity, and so the timing is aligned. But to Michelle, you were so inspiring. I want you to touch on me. You were talking about that you like to touch on people and give them that energy and that spirit to believe in themselves. It's so important to see that. And I love to see stories of people with that type of legacy, because we aspire. I'm 8 years in the business, past that little teeter part where things might not go well, and certainly my industry, human resources, really accelerated during COVID because of the compliance factor. There wasn't a day that you didn't see a headline about what employers have to do now, right? And 6 Degrees answered the call to many of those mandates regarding masks, at one point vaccinations in the workplace. There was a lot of positioning done way before COVID that thankfully I had built a great foundation here in Santa Clarita on how to serve small businesses. But then I became a part of the recovery. And of course, we're going to be in that recovery mode at least 5 to 6 years. That's a prediction that's conservative, given that we're not done yet, right? So 6 Degrees has evolved, and I named it specifically, which I loved your point about being mindful and specific about branding. Because when I started 6 Degrees, I started out of a Starbucks right here in Santa Clarita. But I thought globally, even at that point, that it was going to be way beyond Selena Thomas, and that I needed to think very big. And early in my career, I was an intern for Nate Holden, and I had an opportunity to be immersed in, at that time, empowerment zones. And they're called hub zones now, right? And the development of businesses and their recovery from, at that time, the riots was, the disaster in that era. And so applying that to what I'm doing now in my candidacy, I am so fortunate to be able to represent my community in city council and for what I've built here. So coming here as a single mom 12 years ago with 3 girls in tow, started my company to support them in this new life that we were building here. And then it grew because small businesses, there's fertile soil here in Santa Clarita for small businesses. And there's some areas that you can say are the absolutes, but HR translates everywhere. And so I have industries from medical to construction to service industries, even salons, and all of those things transfer. And this is the reason why 6 Degrees grew to where it did. But now it has become that essential industry for companies. And to your point, Crystal, a lot of companies use me as a third party to investigate issues because they're too close and you can't see the forest through the trees. So you have a neutral specialist that comes in, doesn't know the people or the politics, and I'm applying best practices to resolving and mediating issues between an employee and an employer. So HR has expanded so many different directions because of not just the crisis, but we're living in a state that is really weighted in the favor of an employee. So a neutral party serves everybody. So I'm so
Interesting.
excited to share that part of how 6 Degrees grew.
And you guys are vital right now with the great resignation. You know, I think employers believe that it's about money. That is not what this is about. It's about that work culture. It's about the toxic environments
Absolutely.
that employees are
Respect and care
care. That's
for
all they're
the
concerned
employee.
about. Money's
Yes.
important, but how I feel and fit in your
Yes.
place of business is
Yeah.
more important to me because I'm spending so many hours with you.
Absolutely.
So I shouldn't have to go to a job and hate it from the moment I sit there and just wait to Friday till I get my paycheck, and that's the only thing I'm living for.
Or even heading into the job and feeling that anxiety. And so my thesis title was retention of employees in a multifaceted company from the top down. Why do people leave companies? And it was never about the money. In my survey, most people left because of the way they were treated. And so understanding that as a practitioner later when I became licensed and I expanded my knowledge into not just how to practice in California, but I'm actually certified nationally, it really expanded the brand in being able to be an industry leader on diversity and equity in the workplace, sexual harassment, hostile work environment, mitigating those issues way before they become pervasive. And so you're right, the human part is first in HR. And if people consider that when they are opening their company, one employee requires you to comply with all of the workers' comp, right? And the payroll, everything that they touch, you have a responsibility and you're more than likely regulated by somebody.
So
Yeah.
So that's my specialty.
how long ago have you done your thesis, Selena?
2004, actually. And so I've
So
been a practitioner for over 16 years in
so
this
you
field.
know you can republish that, right? Because
Yes.
what you're talking about is exactly what's going on right now. So that
Yes.
would I remember when I wrote my thesis, I thought, oh, it was just a document I'm gonna write and get
Put
a
it on the
mark
shelf.
from from
Yes.
my professor.
Right.
But then as
Mhm.
you go along in the industry, you see where it's becoming more and more relevant. So I can just imagine with yours
Yes.
how relevant it is. And I would encourage you to publish it.
Well,
And if you look
especially,
at life's issues are cyclical, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
The issues regarding social justice
Yes.
are equally applicable now in my kids' generation.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. I would use that same analogy.
Oh,
hmm
yes.
and especially when you look, this is what 4 million people just walked off jobs. That's
Mm-hmm.
significant, right? I
Yes.
I remember when I was um a job that I had prior to my exodus into entrepreneurship, like Michelle,
Sure.
but I kind of knew that that's what I wanted. It was a plan for me, right?
Yeah.
And my
Sure.
plan was to stay there for a certain period of time, and then I was going to leave. But as the time progressed, the work environment became kind of toxic, and I used to
Yes.
pray all the way to work, and I'd have to pray all the
Yeah.
way home that I'd get back there
Mhm.
the next day. And I told my mom when it was time for me to leave, and she was like, "Why are you leaving?" I said, "Because one, I decided I'm not a good employee,
Yes.
and two, why am I working somewhere where I'm miserable? I should not be miserable going to work."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and and so that is so important. I think she froze. Let's see. Um Up. She's popping out. Let's see if she's gonna come back.
I think you lost Selena there.
Yeah, I
No,
think.
I'm
Let me
here.
see.
Oh,
There
there
she is.
she is.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry
Um.
about that.
No
I agree
problems.
with you that having that sense of misery going into the job, you're not efficient and effective during the job, and then you're decompressing on the way home. So, to your point earlier, many people used COVID as that opportunity to make those dreams happen that they had tabled, reinvent themselves. For some, they were forced to because their industries were so impacted that it would be, think about the restaurant industry. I know a lot of salon workers had to work underground because of the compliance related to just being in close contact with someone. So people use this time to reinvent themselves and and find their happiness and find their purpose. And as we spoke to earlier, Crystal, the evolution of me becoming a candidate for public office was because of the crisis that happened to the small business community. And it was a natural evolution, even for an established business owner like myself, to lend my knowledge of and voice and advocacy to my candidacy because my small businesses were actually endorsing me to do so, so that they had an advocate that could um, really speak to the nuances of this crisis for them. And then the other layers came forward from being someone that had evolved and developed and can reflect what's possible here. And so it's been a blessing to be able to share my story in my candidacy and still build my practice and support my clients.
See, you made an amazing transition to my next question that I was gonna ask. So you're reading my mind here. I was gonna say I see Crystal, my co-host, as a phenomenal woman. So too do I see Michelle and many others like them. I also see you as a phenomenal woman, and I wanted to see how does that phenomenal woman translate into this office that you're running for now, and how do you see the community supporting you with that office? So maybe you can tell us a little bit about, like you just
Oh,
mentioned,
sure.
the purpose, the reason why you got into it, and the office itself.
And truly, it was an evolution, much like many people had, except my evolution went into public service. So, just as a history, I was a social worker prior to going into the business sector. So the people part was and service part, and I did this for 8 years prior to transitioning into human resources because I was better suited in that arena. It was difficult to bring kids forward and be a new mom working with the toughest elements of society as a social worker. So I had to translate into another industry that could still allow me to be of service, still allow me to be connected to people and serving people, but not having it steal my soul at the same time. And there are people that are suited for that and can and this is the blessing that we have with people that can be first responders and social workers and doctors. But I knew and well enough of myself that I needed to evolve into a different industry to serve. And so it's the same here. I've evolved as someone that has served small businesses and served the community, and those um, things aligning with not just where I'm at in my life. My kids are young adults now, headed into college. I have a 21, 18, and 16-year-old. So the timing of their needs being met is affording me to extend myself back into public service in this way, but using that service experience as a social worker and someone from the business sector. And then, of course, the evolution of me as an individual collides with the opportunity for this community, which is much more diverse than when I came here 12 years ago. All of those things collide. So the intersection of Santa Clarita and what's happening and the diversity growth and Selena Thomas is like this. And so
So,
it really is like that sweet spot that Michelle spoke to, and like you find your purpose and you have an energy now that is infectious.
so just so that our audience or viewers can understand and be clear about what you represent, the office you're going after is city council in the city of Santa Clarita, right?
Yes.
City council.
I'm the
And
first woman of color to be, yes.
that's the kind of thing I want to hear right there.
That
Yes.
is awesome.
With
And
3
That
daughters that are obviously watching, right? And obviously, I have to model if I'm saying that our culture of our family is to serve. So I'm a daughter of a veteran. My mother is Filipino. My father's African American. My father met my mom in the Philippines and married her there. And I'm born because he was of service. And so this is who our family is. And so that legacy is, you spoke to Michelle, and all of us in our own way is part of who our family is. And so developing and modeling that is an absolute. I owe that to the shoulders that I'm standing on to do it in a time that it serves not just the previous generations and honoring who they've been, but the future.
I think that's so admirable. Mainly because we need new blood in public office today, and not too many people are willing to step up to want to do that because it's a journey that that you're
Yes,
embarking on to make change. And because anytime you want to go into public office, you obviously want to equate change. I know Gilbert is always saying, Crystal, you should run for office. No, that's not my areas here where I am right now. I felt that my voice was better
sure.
met in a media type environment and in what I do with my workshops and classes.
Advocacy,
Advocacy is what I
absolutely.
do and support. But I
Yeah,
do take my hat off, and whatever we can do to support you in this endeavor. First, being the
thank
first
you.
Black woman to become city council in a predominantly Caucasian environment is awesome. First of all,
Thank you.
and your mission and your purpose, and I just like your spirit, and I know you will make some things happen, and especially for the small business community, they need so much. They need so much, and we found
We
that out
do,
during the
and it's going to
pandemic.
be a long time. Even without the crisis, they need so much, right? The unique components of being a small business, and really for some and most of my clients, it's a family-owned business. So their existence relies on the small business prospering and evolving into generational opportunities. But to your question, um, Gilbert, about how I'm being received, I have been so honored to be embraced um, by the diversity of our community, and it was because of the bricks laid in the business community. People watched me raise my kids here as a single mom. They saw me at softball games, volleyball games. So there was that credibility that I had earned to represent what's possible here. And so that has been really uh, beautiful in this cycle because we're in person now. So my campaign events are packed, and the room is diverse, and there's an energy about this campaign that has brought the community together. And that's part of one of my priorities is civic engagement. People are paying attention to the race because to Michelle's point, an innovative candidate came forward, but really I'm a constituent first, and I represent what's possible here. And I think that's why people have embraced me in that way, and I'm so grateful for that.
well, I love your cool and calm demeanor. It's just amazing. It's like when she speaks, Crystal
She just is
and Michelle.
calm. It's
Yeah, you
calming.
just want to hear more and more. You can't wait to hear the next word of what she's
Uh-huh.
going to say because it's so
Mm.
formulated and well put together. Now, in Jamaica, we have a
Oh,
saying
thank you.
that, someone who speaks like that, speak quietly but carry a big stick.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't
I
necessarily mean
understand
you're
that.
going to be aggressive, but it just means that,
And I
hey,
might not use
you
it,
can get,
but I
yeah,
have it.
exactly.
You're
And you
Absolutely.
can
using
get,
when you have
Right.
to.
yes,
Right.
you
Now,
can
Absolutely.
get things
Michelle,
done.
And that's
there have been
being, you developed
many of
that
the
as a mom, right?
yeah, exactly. Be quiet, but carry a big stick. Michelle,
Yes.
in the Black Women's Network, there are quite a few women politicians that were involved. Isn't Yvonne Bratworth Burt, wasn't she involved with the Black Women's Network?
A long time ago,
I'm familiar with
yes,
Yvonne.
yes. We have had
When I was
several
an intern for Nate, I had the honor to meet her at that
yes.
time she was serving. Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So this after this interview you're having with us, gracing us with your
Yes.
very special and important time. After this, you have a press conference, right? Is it a press conference that you have?
I actually have a Chamber of Commerce installation gala. I'm very involved in our Chamber of Commerce, and I've, along with Nael, who's a dear friend of ours, um, we have, as Black business owners, begun to be able to accelerate our presence because of our engagement with the Chamber of Commerce, and we've been embraced. And so there's a first in-person installation gala that's happened. It's not, it's been canceled the last 2 years. So that I'm switching out of this dress into the ball
In the
gown.
ball
So
down.
we get to be in person, and
I
I
love
get to
it.
be Cinderella tonight.
I
I get to
love
be
it.
Cinderella, and I get to wake up and be excited about the opportunity to not just campaign all through the weekend, because any opportunity to meet someone in this grocery store and talk about the campaign, so I don't have to have a real specific structured event to talk about the campaign and talk about the movement in the community, for new and fresh ideas and perspectives that maybe people had not thought of, but also that the diversity that's here now is bringing forward, and it's almost, they're coming and they're like, who is the movers in this community? Who's the support? Who's the leadership? And as a business owner for as long as Michelle has been, you become, into some degree, leadership by
Yes.
default, by
Mm-hmm.
by your success, by your ability to create jobs, by your ability to sustain and maintain for as long as you have. And so those things are coming forward. I'm celebrating my 8th year, gone from Starbucks to a 2-story billboard here in town. There's 2 stories of Selena if you come here on Railroad. And then the franchising, trademarking this year became an MBE. It's the constant of evolution that lends that credibility to my candidacy, but also by default, you become a business leader. People come to us to say, how did you get past that 5-year mark where things typically fold? And then how did you do it in a crisis? And how can you share that information with people that are wanting to go from sole proprietor to corporation to franchise? So it's so exciting to be able to see everyone tonight. And it's been 2 years. I've been in a box like this for 2 years. So when people meet me, they're like, I had no idea you were so tall. 5'11". They're like, you're so short in the box. I'm like, yes.
Right, exactly.
So that's been really fun to be able to connect with people in person, and like Michelle touch on them. I love that part. I love people.
Well,
Yeah.
Michelle, I think you guys should have Selena over at the Black Business Black Women's Network,
Oh,
and
yes,
I would love
yes.
I think
to.
so too.
I will
I,
get her information. It will be a great benefit to the
Absolutely.
organization.
yeah, I think so. And I'm
Thank you
going to
so
invite
much.
you to, and I'm going to have my co-host that I do the
Oops, sorry.
community briefing, and the community briefing is a platform that is predominantly for Southern California. Um, And we've had speakers from all across the country, actually, but talking about small business. And so I'd love to have you come on next. I'll have Stephen Turner reach out to you, and so that he can
Oh, I would
put
love
you
that.
on the
Thank you so
calendar.
much.
Because however we can help you in
Yeah.
getting you that exposure.
Share the
And
journey, share the
yeah,
story, share the campaign information, share that we are, even in 2022, to be the first is still, right?
it's
My dad was the
yeah,
first principal, first superintendent, but that was in the 80s. We're 2022. We should
Yeah.
have no more firsts,
Yeah.
right? It
right.
should
Yeah.
not even be a metric that people focus
Yeah.
on in a campaign. And so let's just check that box, not because of that, but because I'm a qualified candidate that happens to be that. But now we're no longer going to have the conversation that it would be the first one. And so when my daughter, who's 16 now, wants to run, it's about the merit of her ability as a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think so.
your election to the city council office is going to be in November. What are some of the pain
Midterms,
points?
yes.
Yeah. What are
Mhm.
some of the pain points that your constituents are voicing to you? What are some of the
Yes.
challenges?
Definitely there's small business recovery. I think if you look at my campaign information, that's priority one, because we were hit the hardest and we're going to be the longest to recover, right? And we talked about the PPPs earlier. We talked about some of the infrastructure that big businesses had that could help sustain them. So that's priority. Other pains are that there's not the representation that is reflective in the community that people are wanting to see, so that they can become engaged and that they can be part of and feel part of a community that they're spending. The median income here is 150,000. The average price of a home is 750 plus. And
Hmm.
so the housing issues are also part of the pains that people are, and this is nationally, right? But California seems to be amplified in compared to the national
Mm-hmm.
crisis. But ability to afford homes and live in a community. I know people that live here and they work 3 jobs elsewhere to live here.
Mhm.
And so that crisis has been a big part of what I'm hearing on the campaign trail. And then, of course, getting our kids um, back into school without the barriers and the mandates, and helping them recover from being shuttered. I have 2 student athletes that from 100 to I'm zoomed and I can't even do my sport. And so just working through those mental health issues that has been impactful to our young people of being shuttered. And so there's that. And then, of course, how do we bring jobs here and how can we create an environment that people can see is ideal for living and doing business? So it's not just a small business community I'm advocate for. I'm an advocate to bring big business here so people can live and work here um, without the super commuter.
So I see the city of Santa Clarita posting a lot of procurement opportunities because they send some my way too. I guess because I registered in their database a long time ago. So I see them putting out a lot of procurement opportunities. How are the minority and women businesses in the area faring with regard to that? Are they getting some of those opportunities or are they just
Such a
get
good
passed by?
question. Well, what part of our advocacy at the Chamber, at the Business Alliance, at COC, is to first educate our minority business owners to operate with infrastructure, because you cannot become an MBE, right, to gain
Mhm.
that procurement without it. And so we're really starting from that place and helping them understand the value. And there were a lot of Black business owners that could not obtain the PPP because they didn't
Right,
have the business banking accounts. They
right.
weren't bankable. They were doing things hand to mouth. And so really starting from the beginning and helping them understand the need to have that infrastructure. That's the antithesis of my company is infrastructure. So we have to start there in order for them to become MBEs, and educating them that we're leaving money on the table. I
Hmm.
do workplace investigations for municipalities because I'm an MBE. So I have
Hmm.
another field, a stream of income that comes into 6 Degrees HR separate from my book of business of my day-to-day,
Mm-hmm.
right, clients. But this is when Long Beach calls and says, we need sexual harassment and hostile work environment. It has to be, they have that allocated amount of money that they have to use an MBE for it.
Yeah.
So educating them that this is another field stream of income that they can tap into and have build their practice or their service industry, whatever their scope is. So the Business Alliance at DOC has made a commitment to Black business owners starting in February of this year in honor of Black History Month to amplify and extend programming to educate Black business owners about those details and nuances so that they can begin to tap into those funds. And so right now, Nael and I, as we know it at this point, are the only two MBEs in Santa Clarita. And so we don't want to be sole survivors. We don't want to be the only ones that prosper. And so this is why we, any opportunity to speak, separate from the campaign, I speak to Black business owners about that.
So just so you know, Councilwoman, Crystal and I can help you out with that too. That's what we do. We help small business,
and we
small
share your
minority,
information
women-owned business,
as
and we
often as
can be
possible.
there to help. So I just want to let you know you got help over
Thank
here
you.
from us.
And
Okay.
and we
Yeah.
all need those extra tools and resources, right? And as seasoned as we are and experienced as we are in our industries, we can always use and learn more, and we can always gain more information that will help not just expand our businesses, but and help level up other people. So the phrase that we're using for Black business owners that are here, and specifically women, is the Level Up Club. We're leveling each other up. We're embracing each other. I love that name. Professor Nael came up with it, but it really does allow, similar to what you guys have accomplished there, for them to come out, right, and join, but also to share and level each other up. And we don't want to be the only ones that made it. We don't want to be the only ones that can speak to success.
And you have to be able to reach back down and pull back up. And that's what has been missing. I mean, I'm the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, and that's what we talk about. Reaching down, supporting each other, no matter where we are, making sure that we're uplifting everyone. And as you say, leveling everyone up. So, because when one succeeds, we all succeed, right? All of us succeed. So it's imperative in this day and age that we're living in that we as Black people start to embrace each other, love each other, and want everyone to be successful. That's why we have women's groups and business, and women seem to do it extremely well, right? You are everyone's a sister, and if I'm here, I need you to be up here with me, right?
I got you. Exactly.
You notice,
I completely agree.
Notice I call you Councilwoman because I know you're going to win, okay? You're going to get all the support from all of us, and you will win, and we are going to be there for you. Now, I don't know if we had told you a little bit about Crystal's background, Superwoman Crystal, like super consultant.
I've read it. I've seen
but
it.
She
and
does
I feel
accounting, bookkeeping. She does forensics on those books. So in the pandemic, when many of the small businesses, they couldn't cut it with a PPP, their idle or their grants, she was there helping them with the books and helping them, get the balance sheet, the profit and loss together. So we could bring that flavor.
All of the supporting documentation.
Oh, yes.
I love what Michelle said earlier. I literally keep a digital file of my P&Ls, my latest tax returns, everything in one file, because any grant that I apply for, they're going to ask for it. Any certification that I'm applying for, they're going to ask for it. So it's the 6th degree, like the latest and greatest. And if I'm past a quarter, I'm calling my accountant, like, I need the latest P&L, I need the general ledger, because I know that someone is going to want the latest information. And
I just got an idea while you're talking. I just got an idea. Your HR company is called 6 Degrees, right? You can call this, you can call the support services that we're providing you using SmallBizPro and everything, 6th degree of documentation. How about that? How about that?
We're all connected, and so is that paperwork.
I love it.
That's a global concept.
And my area,
that's a global concept.
It's a
Yes.
glow. And one of the things, we always talk about financial literacy from a personal level, but in my business, it's also financial literacy from a business level
Yes.
space as well.
Yes.
So that's really what I focus on, is
Yes.
understanding how money works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understanding
So
how.
important.
I was listening to Warren Buffett the other day, and they were saying, how do you make $1 million? And he was explaining his life, and it's really about understanding how money works. That's
Yeah.
all. There was no magical formula that he
Yeah.
became
Right.
wealthy. He just understood how money works.
Yeah.
And I love that you shared that story, especially about Warren Buffett. I am a single mom. I bought a property here a year and a half ago at the height of COVID as a self-employed person, right? High sevens. And when you have full docs, right? That's your personal and your business docs.
Mhm.
So 5 years of tax returns are required, 5 years of individual personal tax returns. So it isn't just about the score. I told the girls, there's so much more to
Yeah.
qualifying and getting to the finish line, right?
Mhm.
Because the underwriter is God. He's going to ask you for
Oh yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, he stopped short of asking me for my 7th grade report card. I was looking for it though, but he asked for everything. I was like, I need to find my 7th grade report card because this guy's gonna ask me. But the point was that I had it, and I
Yeah.
had
Right.
it, and I knew to have it 5 years before,
Yeah.
right? And I knew that it would serve me, and no one knew where the market would be when it was time to buy. No one knew that and people were bidding $50,000 over and above cash.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
what does that mean for someone who's purchasing on a loan? Everything has to be T's crossed, I's dotted.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the escrow officer that came to my home to fill out the documents, and I asked her to say this in front of my daughters. She said, I followed your file for 47 days.
Wow.
And why is because first, I very rarely, as an escrow officer, 25 years here, have done a loan for an individual, let alone a woman, let alone an African American woman.
Wow.
I had to meet you. I had to
Wow.
meet you.
They're actually admitting that.
She
Wow.
acknowledged that because she understood and knew what it would take because she's watched these processes in the middle of escrow fall apart. So
Wow.
for an African American woman, this is when the EEO information starts to come in, right?
Yeah.
That's when she saw I was an African American woman. She said,
Wow.
I want this file. I need to meet this woman. I've been here for
Amazing.
25 years. I needed to know. And then, of course, I talked about the campaign. And like,
Yeah, you
but
need her
it
to
was
support that
important.
campaign.
But
But
it was powerful to see that someone who's been in this industry, right, that's
Yes.
going to make the deal close
Yes.
could see me in paperwork,
Yes.
right? I was bankable.
Amazing. You
And
know, that's
so
a great
this is
story
a
you just
story I
told right
share
there.
with people.
That's a great story you told, because a lot of us as entrepreneurs and small businesses, we don't think that our paperwork speaks on behalf of us. We don't think that, but it
Volumes.
does.
It speaks
yeah.
volumes. The
Yes.
bankable point that you made earlier, Crystal, was so important because closing it, right? Okay, I'll lock that up. Now it's time to buy a building. Now it's time to franchise. I trademarked right after that, right? Now we get to the next goal. But the credibility of being a homeowner in this community was certainly a subject matter brought up in the campaign. It
Oh, I'm
was,
sure.
are you a homeowner here?
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to come for you, no matter the color. This is
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
mind fair game.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I absolutely had to check that box.
All
Not
right.
only am I a homeowner, I'm a business owner. I
Right.
save jobs. I've raised kids here.
Right.
I'm rooted in this
Right. You're
community,
you're a
invested in the
stakeholder.
results.
You're a
I am
stakeholder in
invested.
that community, and
Mhm.
that's why it's so
Yes,
important that when we are
that's why.
stakeholders, we understand how much power that brings
Yes,
to your voice. You now can
yes.
use that voice because you represent the whole of the community, and they're not seeing you as a transit in that community.
And
So
I'm
that's
not a carpetbagger. I'm
Right.
invested. If you're a woman and you said you raised your kids here, right? And now they're positioned because of your sacrifice to live here, that's
Yeah.
credibility.
Right.
yeah.
So everything else gets to fall away, right?
Mhm.
The optics, the obvious, or what they think is obvious, right?
Yeah.
And so it's important to be able to get out, connect, communicate that, share the story. And I'm very transparent about who I am. You just have to follow my social media and you kind of get a clear picture of what and who is important to me. But it is important that when I'm speaking to someone that's not from here, what the landscape is like and why we have to do it differently than someone maybe in an area where we've already checked that box and have someone that looks like us at the table.
Councilwoman, the more you speak is the more I'm falling in love with you. And I can just imagine your constituents doing the same, you know? So we know that you're going to get to where you're going because you've got a mission, you got a vision, and you got that
And a
focus.
purpose.
You see that pain point and you're going to solve it. So we're excited.
So are there any
Thank
other
you so much.
once you win this election, are there any other visions out there that's bigger than the councilwoman?
Aspirations. So
Aspirations?
everything is always tied to my kids and their needs. They're headed into college, right? But you know, serving my community right now, especially with this small business crisis, and being able to, like we talked about before, build the credibility. If there is a larger aspiration that comes from this, I want to be able to have had credibility at that seat first and say, now this is what I did when I served at the city. And so I try to like crawl before I walk kind
Okay,
of thing,
good.
right? And so that was important for me to build my credibility first to be able to become councilwoman because of what I've accomplished here as an individual. And then if anything else presents itself, and it always does, right? That's just the universe. So we'll see. So I never say never.
All righty
Crystal,
then.
you know what I'm hearing here, Crystal?
What?
I'm hearing a book from her on how to become a council person or a congress person, because what you're saying is so crucial. A lot of politicians, they don't think about that. But you got to build that foundation. You got to build that infrastructure. You got to do things the way you're
You
doing,
have to
building
do
your
the work.
credibility and everything.
And you know,
You have to do the
this
work.
past election that we had, you know, we have now 5 women supervisors across the country with
Yeah.
Holly Mitchell.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yes.
we have our first vice president that's a woman. It's just so many firsts that
I
took
just saw
place.
Catherine Barger, our supervisor that represents us, at a groundbreaking on Monday for the first homeless shelter in our community. We've been in existence since December 15th, 1988, 6 months before I graduated high school. And we just broke ground on our first homeless shelter. So the evolution about the type of candidate isn't the only thing that is evolving here, that we're growing into a community that is more accepting and helpful to our fellow neighbor. And so I got to see her and chat for a moment, but that was a huge milestone for us to be able to even be at groundbreaking for that. So we're making a lot of inroads here.
That's fantastic. I belong to a ski club called Four Seasons West, and our president for a number of years, I think she was president for over 20 years, Jerry Boyles. She's from Santa Clarita, and probably at the time, yeah. So it's probably wasn't many. I think she might at that time, but she was there. I think I started skiing in 1990 in the 90s, and she was the president for the ski club to 2004. She lives and she still lives in Santa Clarita, but I think at that time she was maybe one or two.
Far and few between.
Yeah.
When I came 12 years ago, if I went into a store and saw someone else, I was like, hi. I couldn't wait to say hi. Right now, it is much more commonplace.
That's good.
My kids are still the only ones on their team that look like them. They're elite athletes here in travel and in their high schools, but it's growing. And so it is important that when you come to a new community that you see someone, you look for your tribe when you go somewhere new, right?
Oh yeah.
You look for who looks like you, and representation is important. So
right.
Me,
when I lived in the valley, I was always looking for, oh hey, in the supermarket, hey.
And for me, it was, where's the hair salon? And I had to, true. I just found a hairdresser here after 12 years.
Wow.
Outside of that, I was on my own, and then I have a braider that drives from Lancaster to do my daughter's hair. So it's
Mhm.
that self-care part. I'm just now getting back into. I have a salon appointment. I get I get touched on, and that for us that was so important that happened, and it just happened for me in my 12th year living here.
Yeah, I had to come.
Michelle, you need to set up a facility there in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, when I was in the
Yes,
Need to
valley,
expand out.
Yes.
yes.
when I was in the valley, I had to come back over the hill. There was nothing. I have friends that live in the
Right.
valley.
We have to
Nothing.
travel for the things that are
Yeah.
specific to us. We have
Yeah.
to do the things that are important to us in a different way. But I think when people hear that that is not much different than who they are, then they embrace you. So I'm Filipino and Black. There's a strong Filipino community here that
Yeah.
has embraced me and has amplified my campaign. And we have a seafood supermarket that's about to open up here. I'll be at the groundbreaking. Shaq's opening a restaurant here. I'll be at the ribbon cutting. So there's so much representation of the growth in business that's happening too.
Well, fantastic. You two ladies are absolutely wonderful. We could be on here forever, but I guess we have to come to a
Thank you.
close. But you guys are awesome. Michelle, definitely, I will send you over Selena's information. I
Great.
think she would be awesome to speak with the the Black Women's Network. You're such an amazing person, Michelle. I'm just so honored to
Thank
know
you.
you. And as long as I've known
Mm,
you, and Selena, I hope I can embrace you in my world.
absolutely.
Because I
I
think
look
you're just
forward to that.
pretty awesome. I can introduce
Thank
you to
you.
some more friends of ours and other women's groups that we have that we were there to support you. I love your
And I'll
energy.
introduce you to the Level Up Club here because
All
we're
righty,
doing that.
I'm ready.
Thank you
I
again,
am
Gilbert, for extending
I
this to me.
I
I so
am just
appreciate
so
you.
in awe right now of you two women. You two women are so phenomenal. My co-host, she already knows she's phenomenal. I put on her cape on her every day. So she's phenomenal. But you two ladies, man, what you guys are doing in the community, what you're doing for women, and what you're doing for economic development is so phenomenal. So both
And
of you,
legacy.
yeah, and legacy, exactly.
Yes.
Both of you are welcome back anytime, and I'm serious about that. We want to welcome
Yes,
you.
I'll take you up on that as the
Please
campaign
Thank
gets
do.
you.
closer.
Please do.
November
So,
8th is midterms.
yes.
Okay.
Definitely share the
And
story.
So,
and I'll I'm
just so
sorry.
you know, this video is gonna be on YouTube, so the world can see it, and you guys can also use this video as
I will
marketing
share it on my
material.
link tree.
Yes, use it as
Absolutely.
Okay.
marketing material. So
I will
we're
send it over
excited.
to both of you, as well as we're hosted on podcast network as well. So it's iTunes and I think 10 different podcast channels. So I'll put it up tonight. And so wonderful. I just
Thank you.
Michelle,
Do you ladies?
congratulations on 40 years in business and love
you.
you, love you, love you, love you. Selena,
Thank you.
Do you
awesome.
Thank
I'm
ladies
you.
want
looking
to give us
forward.
some contact information so we can put it in the chat so folks can.
I am looking forward to celebrating you becoming councilwoman in Santa Clarita.
Yes.
It's just gonna happen. There would be no way they can't vote for you. Just no
Thank you
way.
so much. And I'll keep you
She-
posted, and I'll keep posting all the events, and we are growing, and from a grassroots to a real positive campaign with a purpose to bring people together. So thank you guys
yeah,
so
just
much.
send me was out. I'll reach back out. I think you have my email address, but when I send this to you,
Yes.
whatever you want us to blast out for you, I have a pretty extensive network, and would love to. I love to support you as however we can. I mean, Los Angeles. Those of us down here are we're huge, right? Because we spanned
Yes.
out all over the place. I was telling my sister and I were talking the other day. It was I do a couple of youth programs in Los Angeles. I teach kids how to be entrepreneurs. I do that program with the Los Angeles Urban League. We do a biz camp every summer, but as well as on the
Oh, I love
weekends,
that.
I work with a program called Pete Brown, and we teach kids how to play tennis. and the kids come from everywhere. So we have kids that are actually from the Valley, Santa Clarita, Calabasas, Ventura.
Yeah.
We have kids from Riverside. They come up on the weekend to play tennis with our kids. And so
I
our
love
arms
that.
reach far. We reach far, because for me, it's
I
about
love it.
kids and making sure it's a better place for them. So
Yeah.
I do have a
Yes.
network outside of the Los Angeles proper, and it extends. Gilbert is out in the San Gabriel area valley. So however we can help, you know.
Well, I can't wait for you guys to meet my girls, because if you are impressed with me, I'm really the black sheep of the family, because they're so phenomenal. They my daughter just received a full scholarship awards merit award, even though she's top 100 in the country for softball, to St. Lawrence in New York.
Awesome.
And so
Yeah.
Wow.
Hofstra, they're all coming and calling for the academics. And so I definitely can't wait to share their story as well. And so I was just the
And what?
vessel, but definitely
Oh
proud of
well,
them.
you did well. I'm sure you did well. And your other daughters, what two of them in college or
So
one?
I have a junior in college, so she's 21.
Wow.
Mia is a senior at Saugus High School, and she's the one that's received numerous, and she'll let us know. She'll have a press conference about her decision. And then Morgan is 6'3". She's a volleyball player, and she's a sophomore.
Oh,
All A's.
awesome.
All of them honor students. Yeah.
And congratulations. I know you must be
Thank
one
you.
proud mama.
Yeah.
I am.
So
That's my
Selena,
biggest accomplishment.
Selena, is there a phone number or an email you
Yes.
want us to put in here so folks can
Yes.
contact you? What's the phone
Absolutely.
number?
So I'm going to give you the 6 Degrees number is 661 is
Uh-huh.
the area code,
Uh-huh.
432-1088. Goes right to 6 Degrees. And
Beautiful.
then the email is 6 degreeshr@gmail.com.
So DEGREES,
Yes.
right? 6
HR
degrees
at
HR.
Gmail. And then the campaign website, or the campaign email, is Selena Thomas for City Council @gmail.com.
Awesome.
Okay, beautiful. And Michelle, how about you?
Okay, I'll give you my website, Michelle
Yes.
Moorebell, MichelleMoorebell.com. Email hello
I love
at
it.
MichelleMoorebell.com.
Okay,
That's
let me
beautiful.
let me have it again. Let me hear it again, Michelle.
Website, MichelleMoorebell.com.
Mm-hmm.
Email hello at MichelleMoorebell.com.
I love it.
I love that. Would never thought about that, but what's such a better email than info
You
or
won't forget it.
contact? Hello.
Yes. You will
So
not forget it.
hello at michellemoorebell.com, right?
Yes, that's
I
correct.
love it. Man,
And I
you
just
are
want to say one more thing real quick, that I think we
yes.
should reach out to our peers and show some sympathy. You know, even though we may be struggling or going through things, well, not struggling, but just surviving. But we
Yeah.
just do have to
Yes.
reach out to our peers and see how they are doing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially during this time, because
Absolutely.
you never know what's going on. And I also want to send prayers and blessings to the men and women and children that have been displaced in the
Yes.
Ukraine.
Yes,
It's
Yes.
just
It's awful.
devastating that in 2022, what we're watching, we've read and heard what took place in 1940. Never thought in my lifetime, but then again, I would have never thought what I saw 2 years ago in my lifetime either in the
Right.
in the DC. So it's just so many things going on, but there's so much pain in this world. And
Yeah.
so sending out prayers and blessings to everyone around the world, and
Yeah.
that we are supporting them,
For peace.
and that our hearts go out to them. Also, prayers and blessings to the loss of oh wow, I just had a brain freeze. Good Lord, where'd it go?
Barbara Morrison.
Yes, Barbara Morrison.
Yes.
Prayers and blessings to Barbara Morrison's family.
Yes,
We
Barbara
lost her.
Morrison died?
Yeah, on
Yes.
Thursday night. We
When?
lost. Yeah,
When?
Thursday night. Thursday
Oh my
night.
Lord.
Yeah,
I
we
did
lost
not
her.
know
So
that.
that what an icon lady
Oh, yeah.
after she had her legs amputated for diabetes. I think she came back with more vim and vigor than she had before then.
Oh
and
wow.
and so she's resting in heaven now, and so prayers and blessings to her family and her extended family,
Yeah.
Lamert Park Village, because they are hurting. So we're sending our prayers and blessings to all those out there. Much love. Maxine, welcome to the Business Zone. We haven't seen you in a long time. Diane, thank you for showing up. I know you came from Michelle, but thank you for coming. And yeah, you got a good support team, Miss Michelle.
Wow.
Beautiful
That's
ladies.
amazing.
So we went, and Miss Selena, you go out and be Cinderella tonight and just kill him. Uh-oh, did we lose her? All righty, everyone.
Well, you
Yeah,
all
good.
have a great platform. Thank you again for allowing me to share.
Oh, I've
Thank
been
you,
wanting to hear.
Michelle.
I've been wanting. I can't even hold on. Oh, there you go. I have
Sorry about
been
that.
dying to get you here. So thank you so much, both of you, for coming on to the show.
Thank
We are
you.
so happy to have you. It was a light for the entire week for me, and I look forward to when you both will be back.
Yes.
Look forward to supporting you, Selena, and
Thank
Miss
you.
Michelle. You know, you're in my heart. So however we need to support you, we're here for you. So with
You.
I wanna make a shout out to one of Councilwoman's friend, Councilwoman Selena Thomas's friend, that
Yeah.
is is a big support for her and a client of mine as well. I coached her in her business. Her name is Nielle Cook, and she
Yes.
is phenomenal. I'm sure she's listening to the show right now,
I
right?
hope so.
Right,
I'm supposed to see
Selena?
her later tonight. She's supposed to be at the
Yeah,
ball with me, so she may be getting dressed. But
yes,
well, we're gonna let you go get dressed so you
yes.
can be beautiful tonight as well. But have a
Thank you.
fantastic time tonight, and enjoy
Thank
every
you.
ounce of this journey that you're on. God is blessing you,
We're here
and
for you.
we're
We're
here
here
for
Continue
you.
to share. I appreciate that and all the
And
support.
Michelle,
Thank you guys so much.
let me know what else what other celebrational things are on the agenda for the 40 years.
Yes,
Okay.
Michelle.
Oh
Certainly
yes,
Yes,
please send
Michelle.
that to me. Yes.
Yes, will do. Definitely. And
And
thank you
Thank
guys.
you,
Camilla, Blair,
everybody.
thank you, Diane, thank you. With that, we're going to sign off. But before we do, everyone go over to the Business Zone on YouTube and hit the subscribe button so you will get notifications every week of another great show that we have. Next week, we are honored to have Miss Karen Blackwell. She is a
Yeah,
dynamo in the business space, procurement
yeah.
space, and she's going to come on and talk about her journey and sharing. I didn't even know what I know about her now when I first met her. That is just incredible. She's worked with City Hall, with the mayor and Nestle. So you guys tune back in next week to have a conversation with Miss Karen Blackwell. She's an awesome businesswoman in the city of Los Angeles as well.
So
Can't wait to
much
see that.
respect to all you phenomenal women, and happy Women History Month. You guys are going to flourish. You guys are going to foster and grow, and the Business Zone is here to help you guys. So just want to let you know.
Blessings
Thank
to all.
you.
Thank you,
Blessings.
guys.
Selena, can you send us a picture or post it on your Facebook how beautiful you're going to look tonight?
Oh
Yes,
yes, I will. I will
yes,
send you a
yes.
picture. Yes,
We
I will
want to
post
see.
it.
We want to see that
I'll be
Cinderella
yeah,
outfit.
Ron is home now. He's getting dressed, and so
All
we
right,
can't wait.
we're gonna
We
let you
love
go
to
get
dressed
dressed.
up.
I know as a
Thank you
woman you
guys.
need to have
Bye,
time.
Selena. Nice to meet
Bye.
you.
Nice to meet you, Michelle.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Bye
So
bye.
we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and sign out now. But Michelle, if you want to stay on, you could stay on, and we could talk some more. So we'll see you guys next week, our supporters and viewers. We'll see you next week on the Business Zone, 3:00 every Friday. So tune into this great station, to YouTube Live or Facebook Live. We're out.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow. Using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.